As you guys can see, it's a bit different today. Like a mental, like a doctor.
I'm a specialist pediatrician and mental health advocate. I'm really excited to be here.
Guys, today's topic is gonna be mental health.
Mental health is something that everybody goes through every day.
Yeah, are you like the woman who has it all or aspires to?
I'm the woman that God has given what I need.
There was a comment that I saw, and someone said that I feel like Sima has imposter syndrome, right? So
guys, people are so wild, so bold.
They say that in serious situations, I always have to like throw in a joke or just to not feel like what is being felt in the moment. Sometimes if I find something funny and I just want to,
So I do the same thing. I call it dark humor.
Okay.
Right.
Do you hear that?
You can close your eyes, you can open your eyes, you can relax. Okay. Now you're gonna go from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Make sure that you're relaxed and just breathe in and out.
Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Ree, your favorite stay-at-home daughter.
Hey guys, it's your favorite boss babe, Nami.
Hello guys, to go see my favorite host of the most.
Shout out to Go Manaka, your favorite host with the most, and we are not sorry.
As you guys can see, it's a bit different today. Well, on this something.
in the air.
Like, there's something in the ear. Like a mental, like a doctor. Qualified.
The NQL.
Why, but so today we have Dr. Khanyile.
I was actually gonna ask because I was like, I don't know that you guys have ever had a guest. I'm honored.
You are the first guest.
Thank you guys. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you for coming.
You for real. You're so pretty. I hate saying that to women who, especially women of intellect, who lead with their brains and stuff like that, because looks don't matter. Do you get what I'm saying? Because first of all, you're smart. It shouldn't. Do you get what I'm saying? But I hate having to point out looks. But wow, first day I was like, wait, she's gorgeous and she's smart as shit. So shout out to you for real.
Thank you so much. I don't take it as an insult or whatever. I mean, I just like to think, and I tell my husband, I'm multi-talented. I'm beautiful. I'm smart.
Are you like the woman who has it all or aspires to?
I'm the woman that God has given what I need.
How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. I'm actually very excited to be here. Yeah, because like it's so nice to talk to people who are like in the space. You're in the, you're in the entertainment space. You're in the podcast space, and I think like when we talk about what we're going to talk about today, people make it. I mean, it is a very serious topic, but people make it so corporate and they make it very like heavy. And I think mental health is something that everybody goes through every day. And I think going back and thinking about all the things I'm going through, it's like, it's life, you know? How do we make life a normal conversation to have? So I'm really excited to be here.
Super.
But as she mentioned, guys, today's topic is gonna be mental health. I think it's about time. We've been wanting to have this conversation for some time. First question, Romy.
No, I think the first things first. Please introduce yourself. Maybe just give us a bit of a background about you.
So my name is Dr Khanyile Lenake.
Okay.
I'm a specialist pediatrician and mental health advocate, but I also really am passionate about women and child health.
Nice.
I like to think of myself as a real girl in a big world, tasked by an awesome God to serve his people. And I'm a doctor, a keynote speaker, and a change maker. I have an organization that I work with, Mental Matters South Africa.
So with the merch.
I did.
Remove the hair.
Thank you. There we go.
So with Mental Matters, we have conversations like these ones where we promote mental wellness and also destigmatize mental illness, because you might think you know what it is, and then a bad day becomes a bad week, becomes a bad life. And so how do we recognize danger signs, but also how do we put things in place that prevent that spectrum from going from the healthy end to the disastrous and even life-threatening end.
Okay.
So what do when now recently when you scroll on socials, I think the term that we all know now is narcissist and so forth.
Yes.
So why do you think we're having such a high volume of mental health conversations on social media, whether or not they are guided properly, but what's the rise in the conversations in that space?
So I think it's awareness. It's a good thing because people need to understand the role that mental health has in your decision making, the relationships you get into, the people that you associate yourself with, even the job that you choose. I mean, you have people saying, I'm not going to work in a particular place because this is a toxic work environment. And that's a form of mental health, right? So one is awareness. And the other thing is people are taking more responsibility of the choices that they're making. As women, as Black women, we have so much more that's accessible to us that wasn't 50, 60 years ago. And so because of that, we are able to have more power, but that also comes with great responsibility. Hey, you can see I'm a little bit of a Marvel person. But because people are forced to make more decisions independently that potentially affect the rest of the community around you, we also understand that we can't affect our environment. We can't allow bad behaviors to become tolerable and acceptable. And also, we want to be healthy. We want to be happy. And happiness is a very big topic. How do I make myself and the people around me happy?
But you know what my problem is, right? I feel like it was almost like an explosion of mental health. Like we never used to have these conversations as much. And then like out of nowhere, like you see like when Black Lives Matter came, it was like explosion. Same way that happened. I feel like it's the same way with mental health. But now I just feel like a lot of people, and you can correct me because you're the doctor here, you must tell us. Like I feel like some people are confusing mental health, like just the awareness thing of, you must be aware of your mental with like an actual illness. Because today I can wake up and say, I think I'm a narcissist because Mang said this and this and this.
Because you dealt with the situation incorrectly. Because you just feel down.
Like I feel like I don't know. Personally, I feel like some people are making things up, or they might feel like just because you're going through a tough time that automatically you have this thing, but it's not diagnosed.
A bad day is not a bad morning is not a bad day. A bad day is not a bad week. So you have to kind of differentiate between that. Sometimes you don't have depression. You're just going through a depressive episode, So
So my question is, what is the difference between mental health and mental illness?
Good. I'm going to bring up the definition because I want to get this right. So the World Health Organization defined mental health as a state of well-being that enables individuals, not groups, individuals, to cope with life stresses, realize their abilities, learn and work productively, and contribute to their community. Right? They also then expanded it to say it is considered a fundamental human right, exists on a complex individual continuum. So spectrum. Okay. The other thing that they add is that it's not the absence of mental illness. Now, before we get to the mental illness part, if you look at a state of well-being, states flux. They go up and down. So like you're saying, you could have a bad morning, but that doesn't affect the state that you're in. Okay. You enable an individual. So there has to be an environment that enables you to succeed. Okay. If you are in a bad or difficult environment, you already have you don't achieve mental health because you have to overcome that environment first before you can then go and cope with life stresses. Right. Life stresses, let's agree. South Africa is not a normal place.
No, not even in the slightest.
We have unemployment rates for the youth that are
skyrocket,
very high. We have very high crime rates. We have gender-based violence. We have fatherlessness. We have abuse. So all of those things are contributing to abnormal stresses. So already as a South African who's having a normal standard of living, you don't have mental health. Okay. Unless you do things to protect that. You then realize your abilities, which is why goal setting is so important. Because if you don't understand, if you don't have something to work towards, you won't challenge yourself and realize what you can and can't do.
Sorry, just to chip in, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Are you then saying, because obviously historically South Africa is a place where we were oppressed for the longest time. Are you then saying historically the mental health was at a decline or it didn't exist at all because the environment in states at the time was so horrible for anyone to achieve, especially as a Black nation?
Yeah, so the environment that was around Black South Africans at the time during apartheid made it difficult for a person to be baseline level happy, what you would consider happy, right?
Okay.
Because there were so many things you had to overcome in order to just have a normal day. You had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to travel on a taxi. You had to make sure you had your dompas. You had to make sure that you were not doing crime. You had to then go through the township where you live, maybe boil water because the geyser, there's no electricity in your area. All of those things. Exactly. So all of those things are making it more difficult for you to just live your life. And then on top of that, when you get to work, you're being called slurs. You're being discriminated against because you are Black, because you are a female, etc. So that it's saying that mental health needs, if you have all of these things, we can then say you have health, like a good mental health.
Okay.
Everybody's mental health can either be good, bad, or critical. Okay. So if we're just going on, it then says you learn and work productively. So that will depend on what you do.
Okay.
So a stay-at-home daughter will have a different expectation on her than someone who is a stay-at-home mom. You're both staying at home. But as a daughter and a mom, you have two different roles. If you don't wash the dishes, that could be a problematic thing. But if a stay-at-home mom doesn't wash the dishes, based on the environment around her, that could be more detrimental, right? So if she's too tired because she's having such severe depressive episode that she's unable to get up and wash the dishes, that affects her ability to work productively in her home. And then you can escalate that to corporates and escalate that to people who are in the entertainment industry. And then the last one is you need to contribute to your community. So that could be service, right? That could be, I want to go and help out at church, or I want to go and help the community. But service, the community could also be your family, right? That's also a community. So the last part of that is mental illness. It's not the absence of mental illness. And what that means is depression, for example, has a diagnostic criteria that we use in the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. Okay. It's basically the textbook that says, tick, 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 yes, you've got depression, or tick, 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 cross, no, you don't have it. So it has mood symptoms such as, you are feeling sad, anhedonia, where nothing makes you feel good, no matter what you try, even things you did before. It also has cognitive things. You can't concentrate. You're very irritable. And then it also moves on to physical symptoms like you have lethargy, where you're just very, very tired. You're unable. Catatonia, where you can't even move. Your body physically can't move.
Sorry. Lethargy, fatigue.
Yeah.
Lethargy is fatigue.
Yeah, please also,
It's the score.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Apologies.
Okay, yeah.
No, real.
So what you then get is you have these symptoms, but there's also a time criteria.
Okay.
So you need to have these for the majority of 6 months, right?
Okay.
Consistently.
Consistently.
Okay.
But what happens at month 1 when I am very sad about an event that happened and I can't stop crying? What happens at month 2 when all my family and friends are coming over to help me and I can't get over, not grief, like I'm just sad. They're trying to help me get out of it and nothing is making me happy. What happens in month 3 when I'm turning to substances to try and feel something? What happens in month 4 when I'm now on stimulants because I have to get up to go to work and I can't concentrate at work and my boss is firing me? What happens at month 5 when now I'm being fired from my job? So just because I haven't been diagnosed with a mental illness does not mean that I don't have a poor state of mental health. And that's the important part.
I have a question. So my sister, this is like a real story. Like it happened to me, right? Because I had not a bad breakup per se. It was just something that really hurt my heart or whatever. And I started drinking a lot and so it was a thing of, I was very sad, didn't want to go out, didn't want to get out of my room, didn't want to eat, do you get what I mean? And then it got to, so I'm seeing like the patterns that you're saying, month 1, month 2, and I fall back into that state. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to speak to anyone. I don't want to be on my phone. I don't want to, Month 3 comes, Kyosima, Wanwa, she's at clubs, climbing on tables, I'm dancing the whole day. Like, it was getting a lot. And then it came to work, right? And then I get to work drunk. I get to work, like, kagowa. Like, it's either I'm sad or I'm drunk as shit or I'm like, I'm a mess. And then I got fired. I got fired from that because it's like, hey, yo, like, we can't have this. And then, got fired. And yeah, I feel like I'm in a better state now, but the alcohol intake is still quite, do you get what I mean? Hold on, please, can I please?
Yeah.
The alcohol intake is still a bit, you know, so I don't know whether but I'm fine.
Yes.
Like, I feel like I'm good. I'm not stressed about anything. I'm gishabo, but it's just the alcohol intake. So how do I like fix that?
Okay.
And I always just want to be around people.
Yes.
Like, it's so
that's actually a
alone is a bit-
protective. That's actually a protective thing, right?
Okay.
So one of the symptoms of depression or even anxiety can be that you want to isolate because you either feel like other people are like watching you and you're paranoid about that, or depression is isolation. I don't want to be around other people because I feel like a burden to them. So that's why one of the tools that we use for treatment of mental illnesses is groups, because you feel community and you can kind of participate and engage in that, but you can also have a protection that if you start going off, someone can check in on you and say, are you okay? Yeah.
I just want.
Yes, I'm going to finish that one.
I just wanted to add that Sima hates being sad. Like she is.
Sissy, do you like being sad?
like, who likes being sad?
Even me, I don't like being sad.
Like being sad, but she does not give room.
Doesn't allow herself to be
that
sad.
emotion. That's the thing. She doesn't want to go through it. She's like, sad now.
You must
20 minutes later.
Like, my sister, I cry now. Thing is, I just cry now, and I'm just like, guys, we don't have time for this. Like, why? We're like,
Are you an eldest daughter?
I'm the only kid.
The only child. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think, let me finish this thought when it comes to the behaviors. Things can happen to you that can affect you because you've never experienced them before. Okay. And now, because it's a new experience, this is the ability that we're realizing, right? It's now exceeded your ability to cope with the things you did before. And now your body's in a state of stress where you're finding coping mechanisms. Okay. So the coping could be, I don't have time for this. I'm fine. I need to move. Throw yourself into work. Throw yourself into partying. Being around people to get your mind distracted and not think about what's happening. Go into substances, alcohol being one of them, or other more dangerous substances that can take and dissociate you from what you're feeling. The problem is you always have to come back to what you're feeling because your mind will say, we haven't finished dealing with this.
Yeah.
Also, you can have acute stress disorder. So, post-traumatic stress disorder. That's where there's a traumatic event that happens and it leads to that. But a breakup for some people can be traumatic.
It is traumatic. Yeah.
Like it can be traumatic.
So it's about your heart.
Yes. Even me myself.
No, Fred, I get you.
Yes.
A breakup is valid.
And it doesn't just because now I was a medical professional, it's as if my body's going to be like, oh, but you're a doctor, you're not. No, Sissy, my mom had to take me to the psychologist. She's like, I need you to talk to this hand because she's going through a lot, right? So what's happening now is, are you running away from the pain because it's too painful? Or are you running away from the pain because you don't have time to deal with it because you've got so many other things to do?
I don't have time.
So now that's the thing is, how do we get you interventions that help you manage the pain in a healthy way?
Okay.
And work through why you're still so hurt after 3-4 months. Okay. And it's not to say that you have to get over it when we say you must, but you can't always, I'm feeling sad. Okay, no, guys, let's go out to the club. Sometimes it's nice to just sit in that and cry. Ne? My husband calls me waterwax. Like, I remember I used to go to work, and when I'm a health professional, you have to work in very high stress situations, make decisions all the time. And you can't shout at people if they're doing the wrong things. You have to, because you understand they're juniors, you have to. So I was holding this in the whole day. I would get home and cry for 20 minutes, just cry. And then he's just like, okay, are you fine?
Shut up.
20 minutes later. After that, 20 minutes later, okay, sure. I feel like I've got that off my chest. Because that feeling actually affects your heart is beating.
What's this?
Your blood pressure is going up because you're so stressed. You can't think because you're just feeling these stress chemicals going through your body. You're sweating, your body palms are sweaty. Like there's a lot going on, right? So what you need to do is find a way to get that out of you. And sometimes if you have to cry for 3 days, one after the other, that's what you need to do.
My sister, I can be crying for a good 3 days. Then my manager goes, drin, drin. Yeah, no, you rested, hey? we need to work.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yo, dude, like, give me time. Like, can I just, like, give me a week? I swear.
Like, we don't have the benefits of the week, right? So what you need to then do is maybe consider different ways to handle what's happening.
Okay.
So do you need to speak to someone like regularly who checks in on you? Do you need to go to therapy? Do you need to maybe seek a spiritual advisor, go to church and speak to them about it? Sometimes in severe cases, I'm not saying in yours, I'm just saying sometimes you might need medication because this has thrown your hormones off balance so much, and the chemicals, the dopamine, serotonin in your brain so much that your brain is not able to get back to steady state, and you can't hear what anyone is telling you. The things they're telling you is right, but because your brain is so noisy, you can't actually hear. And that's what medication does. It helps quieten the chemicals so that the noise is quiet, so that when someone says, maybe you should just breathe when you feel an anxiety attack coming, then it actually makes sense to you and you can intellectualize that and do it.
But so am I wrong for using ashwagandha?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, with that, what are your thoughts on ashwagandha? But also, I feel like with medication, because like I just don't really, I'm not vibing with it.
Yes.
I feel like it sets you up to be dependent on something. Because especially if it's prescription, I feel like obviously there's a lot of herbs which are natural, like ashwagandha, that can work. But the more serious medication, I feel like you're setting yourself up for a life of being dependent on something. And when you don't have it, like, it's over.
Absolutely.
So what are your thoughts on, number one, ashwagandha, if it really does work? And two, medication as a whole? Like, as a professional, do you think, like, can you get addicted? Like, everything medication, yeah.
Double SRIs. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors.
A friend explain. Once again, you know, they don't English. Come on.
But guys,
we'll go through it. We'll go through it.
Maybe answer the two, and then you get into that.
Is it in relation?
Okay.
I just want you to explain, because I've been on them for like a decade. You get what I'm saying? So like, I just want you to explain what they do to you specifically, because I hate being on them.
Yeah.
So bad.
So I look at medication the same way I look at anything I do, exercise, food, whatever, right? What is the reason I'm doing this thing? If the medication is to treat a condition, and the only way to heal that condition is medication, then unfortunately I have to take it. So for example, if you've got a heart condition, if you don't take this medication, you will die. Right?
Yeah, okay.
But when it comes to psychiatric medication, it's very important that we understand that the way we treat particularly mental illnesses is multimodal, or what we call biopsychosocial. Body, bio, psycho, mind, social relationships, and work, interpersonal things, right?
Okay.
Biologically, you have chemicals in your brain, serotonin, dopamine, all of these hormones, cortisol, adrenaline. These all affect the way that your body responds to stress and also how you recover from stress. Okay. Stress can be anything. It could be a lion coming into the studio now. It could be someone calling you and telling you that your car has been stolen. God forbid. It could be you waking up late for work.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are all, we agree, those are all different levels of stresses. But your body doesn't know that. Your body just knows, hey, stress. Release. Okay. So, for example, something like exercise will help improve your body's response to stress so that you don't feel that fight or flight. And it also improves.
Why are you doing
this? I always tell them to start running. So remember, I said improve, not treat.
Yeah.
Right? It improves your response and allows you to handle most. That's why you find people in such high stress environments find exercise helps them, right? But it also floods you with endorphins. So endorphins are like happy hormones, right? Now, when you have something like a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, it's selective because it only it's a medication that you take once a day. Sometimes twice a day in some cases. It selects serotonin in your brain. So serotonin is a neurotransmitter. A neurotransmitter basically is like a message between different nerves in your brain. Nerve transmitter message between the two, right? So when you have a stimulus, your brain says, I need to get happy. Your brain sends serotonin. It goes to the part of your brain that's responsible for happiness, lights it up, and then dopamine. I did something really great. I feel good about myself. Your brain sends out dopamine, goes to the part of your brain that's responsible for reward and feeling good, and it lights up. So now what happens is when you have a depression, your receptors in your brain are dampened, so they can't receive the message the same way. So instead of a mail, you have to have someone physically show up and knock on the door and be like, "Hey, Baba, we need to be happy now," because you don't get, you're not really sensitive to that. So one of the ways you can overcome that is sending more serotonin into that area. So the selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors means so the normal situation is it sends a serotonin message, it happens, and then the brain clears it out, and then it makes new serotonin.
Okay.
This one prevents that clearing out process, and it stops the reuptake to be cleared. And so you have more serotonin staying around for longer, so that it's kind of the effect of, yes, see, we need to be happy.
Okay.
The problem is a lot of these things are habits that you get into. So if someone tells you are bad today, you can be like, "I'm not bad, I'm fine." Then the next day someone else says you're bad. Then the next day someone else says you're bad. Now you're like, am I really bad? So it's a thought pattern that gets into you. And that's why you need cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT says, someone said you're bad. What did you do when they said you were bad? I started feeling bad for myself. It helps you challenge the behavior associated with the thought. So the next time someone says you're bad, you can say, I'm actually not bad. It's just a bad day.
Yeah.
I'm actually a good person. And then when someone else comes the next day and says you're bad, you say, you know what? I'm not bad. It's just a bad day. Let me take a step and breathe. So you challenge the behaviors associated with that thought. And that releases the serotonin. Your brain has a pattern of behavior that it can reinstitute that's positive, mixed with the hormones and the neurotransmitters that are more receptive to those good thoughts, and it prevents you from falling into the depressive state. Long story short, you asked me what I think about medication and ashwagandha and supplements. Your brain has the capacity to do everything it needs to do to be at a baseline. Not too happy, not too sad. Just be normal. The problem is we live in a world that's so full of stimulation that a normal day will feel very boring to most of us. And so you're exposing yourself to a lot of stressful things. And now we're taking supplements to help us calm down, to help us not be so stressed, to help us sleep. So you're exposing lots of stimulation and then taking things to calm you down. So the problem I have is, one, what do you do when you are bored?
Watch TikTok,
literally. And that's stimulation the whole time.
Right? You open the phone, TikTok, Instagram, or if you've got no plans on the weekends, you're phoning guys. Yo, guys, let's go out to the club. Let's do this. Let's not dispute. It's nice. But you need to also learn how to sit with just yourself by yourself. And now, if you're taking supplements on top of that, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to feel more calm because your life is stressful and you're not having the conversations that you need to have to reduce the stress? Or is it because you actually have something that's stressing you out? And for example, you're actually going through a depressive episode and you're unable to get out of it and you need something to feel again. Ashwagandha, I haven't done enough reading into it and I haven't done enough research into it to say whether it's good or bad. But let me tell you something. Have you heard of the placebo effect?
Anyway.
Please explain it.
The placebo effect means that there were studies done where they give people a sugar pill.
Yes, so I know what she's saying. Yes.
And they give, one group of people gets a sugar pill, one group of people gets medication that actually treats whatever condition they're talking about. The people with the sugar pill had the same, if not more results in favor of the treatment of the condition as the people who actually got the medication. So is it all in your head and because you feel like you're doing something about it, it makes it better? Or is it that it actually works? And I haven't seen enough studies, and it's not to say that they aren't there, it's just that I haven't gone deep enough into it to say you should or shouldn't. Having said that, there are some things that have shown improvements. Creatine, for example, is a supplement you can take. The gym people know creatine, but there's also really great benefits. There's really great benefits for like brain fog
brain stuff.
and concentration. It helps,
100%.
right? There are drugs that you can take, like the Ritalins and the Concertas and things that are prescription drugs that you can take. But again, you should not be taking it for a long time.
So you don't believe in taking these things for long?
Anything.
So I mustn't take it for a decade.
Ideally, you shouldn't be taking it for a decade. For a healthcare provider, so
my decade, 10 years.
10 years.
100%.
People take these things for long. Bro.
So, so we're talking about biological, right? Psychological is the therapy we spoke about.
Yeah.
And the therapy also isn't necessarily a psychologist or psychiatrist. Say therapy can be this. Just me and you chatting, right? Because sometimes you just need your thoughts to get out of your mind so that someone can listen to it or package it in a way that when they give it back to you, it makes sense. And you can be like, okay, I wasn't overreacting. Or it was a bit hectic in that one. Let me calm down. And then social. Now the social one is where it's tricky because you can have amazing coping skills. You can be exercising, you can be eating right, you can be taking your ashwagandha, you can be on the compliance on your medication, your therapist and you are here, you're on fine. Paper, sharp. But now you're in an abusive relationship. Right? You have a toxic boss. You have a child who's got a condition that you can't treat. And maybe it's life limiting.
Yeah.
So that social part is always going to affect it. So it doesn't matter what you do in these two sectors, that one is also affecting you. And that's why mental health is so big. Because remember with COVID, people were staying indoors. They had to work all the time. There were no official working hours because you couldn't clock out of work.
Facts.
You had to then sit with the people that you were running away from. You were fighting in the morning. Now you have to go and log into a meeting. And now when you log out that meeting, the people you are fighting with are just next door. You don't have that drive home to de-stress. You don't have that after work drinks with your friends. You don't have, I need to go get my nails done just to de-stress. I need a massage. You didn't have that. So people we saw that the rates of depression and anxiety went up. Divorce went up. Gender-based violence went up. Right? Yeah. And that's all because people were not addressing and dealing with the conversations that they needed to have, which were difficult.
Do you think a traumatic incident the effects of it can go away on its own, or you have to deal with it once you've gone through something traumatic? Do you think with time, does it just wear off, or it's something that you have to deal with?
And that's difficult because it will depend on you, right? We can all be in the same room and the same traumatic thing happens to all of us, but we all handle it differently, right? I want to speak about what you were saying about sometimes it feels like people are making excuses or like they're just like using it. They're just making things up, right? I think there is a difficulty because with mental health, you don't know when someone is using it for their benefit or gain, but at the same time, you don't know when it could actually be life-threatening. Yeah. So in my career, because I'm a medical doctor, if someone says, I want to kill myself, I have to take that seriously. Yeah. But if my boyfriend who I've been with for 5 years and every time I threaten to leave him says, I'm going to kill myself. I'll
even hand him the rope and say, me. Right? Because what do you mean?
So,
how?
Again, it's a pattern of behavior. Mental illness is a pattern of dysfunction. And what's important about mental illness is that pattern becomes dysfunctional in more than one life area. So if your boyfriend is only fighting with you, Mara, he's thriving at work, he's thriving, he's what. Is it really mental illness? We could also go into the debate of maybe he's just masking with other people and he's performing. That's a different story. That's a different topic, right? Yeah. But usually the way that we diagnose mental illness is when you have dysfunction in your personal hygiene, like washing, taking care of just sometimes even like brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, your physical health. Interpersonal, so me and you, friendships, relationships, your relationships at work, and social. So can you show up to work? Are you actually able to do the work? Once you have dysfunction in 2 or more of those areas, then we worry, right? And that's the problem, because maybe you're hiding the other places because you can be yourself at home. Maybe this person is manipulating you, Munaka, and they're not wanting to get anything else from anyone else. So I always say mental illness is not an excuse for bad behavior.
Yeah. It's not.
Right? I understand that you are feeling suicidal, but you cannot force me to do something you want me to do that I do not want to do in order to save your life. That's unacceptable. You can ask me for help. You can say that when you do this thing, it hurts me. But to say that what I'm doing, and I'm not talking about abuse, right? I'm talking about like a non-illegal situation. What I'm doing is hurting you to the point where you want to kill yourself. That's a very scary thing. In that situation, and here's a tip that I say, if someone threatens to kill themselves, you need to have a mental health plan. Who's your psychologist? I'm calling them. Who's your mother or father? I'm calling them. Who's your emergency service provider? I'm calling them. Because if you're going to threaten me with that, I need you to deal with the consequences of that. And if it's a real thing, then the person will appreciate your help, because it means that you actually are saving their life. They actually did want to kill themselves or they did want to harm themselves, and you are intervening to protect them. Not because, and if they're being manipulative about it, then it's going to be like, Joe, what did you call them? And then they're going to think twice about doing it next time, because you're going to be like, do you need me to call your psychologist or psychiatrist? Do I need to call your family to come and help? Because I can't, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Did you answer if it can go away?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me back.
I had MDD at some point.
So MDD is major depressive disorder. Yeah. So that's why you would be on the SSRIs, right? So it can go away.
Okay.
And because we're all different, we'll need different levels of intervention. Some people might just need to go to church, speak to someone at church and pray about it. Some people will just need to maybe have a therapy session, a couple of therapy sessions, and deal with that. Some people need to have medication that they're put on. Some people need 2 or 3. Okay. What's difficult about it is you can't say by 7 days you must be fine.
Okay.
But what should happen is over time it should get better. So if in the beginning, let's talk about a stress disorder. If in the beginning a door slamming triggers you and you start crying, after about a week or 2, you should still get the jolts, but it won't make you cry. And then after a month, maybe someone can bang a door and you might still get a little bit of thing, but it won't be something that pulls you out of what you're doing.
Okay.
So over time, it gets better, but you also have to allow that process. Don't shut it down and don't try to hide it unless it's really like affecting you. Then you should do something about it.
I wanted to ask, I just sometimes feel like, and I hope I don't get canceled for saying this, I just sometimes feel like people are still making excuses. Like, I'm hearing what you're saying, né? But I'm just like, there's some people where it's like, given your circumstance and maybe how you grew up, we can't predict everything. Like, you're just not in the position to be depressed, for example. Because it's like, there'll be another kid who...
You sound like my mom or like my grandparents.
Yeah.
But when you depression,
She's going to
depression.
Did you have to wake up at 4 a.m. to go to XCC?
Exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, times have changed, and I know that pressures of today are so much different to the pressures back then and whatnot. But I sometimes feel like people back then just had it a little bit way worse than us. Like, we do have different stresses, but it'll never be as bad as being in apartheid, for example.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just like, I sometimes feel like when I hear certain people complain or like certain situations, I'm like, but dude, like, why don't you just do this? Like, even a stupid example, like I have a friend where she'll complain about being broke, for example, and how, you know, she's still studying and she can't get an income. And I'm like, okay, then get a job. She's like, I can't, like, I'm struggling. I have to focus on school. I'm like, okay, but then why do you make that your whole personality? Just get a job. I was in a similar situation, for example. I just got a job. Like, I didn't want to, but I just had to. So I struggle. I know people are different and people's tolerance is different. But at the same time, I feel like, in a way, mental health and mental illnesses almost like enables people to be okay with the problems that they have.
Yes.
And to stay stuck in it. Like, just move on. Did people before you did it? Why can't you? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So mental illness doesn't take away the responsibilities you have. It just affects your ability to perform those responsibilities.
Yes.
Right? So if you need to earn money, mental health might make it difficult for you to show up to work in the way that you would if you didn't have the mental illness, but it doesn't stop.
Show up.
You still have to show up, right? And that's why we know you have mental illness when you were showing up and suddenly you don't. You were doing amazing at your job. You were loving your job and suddenly you don't, right? So there is a baseline level of responsibility. And in a way, it is a good thing because we have privilege in society. We don't have to deal with, you know, getting shot in the street. We don't have to deal with, you know, starvation and hunger in certain populations.
Yeah.
We don't have to deal with knowing that if someone is abusing me, I can't say anything because now the family is going to kick me out. I mean, some people do have to live with that.
Yeah.
But there is an element of knowing that our standard of living is higher. So therefore, we can, in essence, complain about lesser things compared to those who came before us. That does not absolve us of responsibility. You still have to earn an income. You still have to contribute to your community, and you still have to make sure that you are taking care of your mind, body, and soul. When someone who is a friend of mine says something like that, I always ask, okay, if you can't do it, what do you think, or what situation would be ideal for you to be able to do that thing? So if you're saying you can't get a job because you're studying, what is happening in your day that you can't allocate a couple of hours
Like, dude, I don't get it,
to
bro.
a job?
I don't get it.
Is it transport? Is it that you don't have enough time because you have too many assessments?
Do you have to get
assignments?
90%?
Are you putting too much? That's important,
to?
right? Are you putting so much pressure on yourself to get 90% that you're allocating all of your time to doing this and you're not seeing anything else? Are you so afraid of failure that you are paralyzed? So I sometimes get this. I get analysis paralysis, where I know I have to do something, but there's so many things I have to do that I'm just like, I'm not doing anything today.
Analysis paralysis. I'm gonna start saying
analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
all of us.
What's the point?
So
Analysis
and
paralysis.
the flat and leave me alone.
Exactly.
My brain buzzes.
So with analysis paralysis, the question is, I still had to go to work. I still had to make those decisions. But what did I need to do? Okay, let me just start one task. Make a list and start with the easiest thing on that list. I have to fold my clothes. Fold my clothes, done. Okay, then I start ticking things off. And that makes me feel I have the anxiety in me that causes that to happen, but I still have to do things to make, even if it's a small task, because you start seeing the snowball effect. The other thing is, you are allowed to make as many excuses as you want. You can say anything you want, but at the end of the day, you still are responsible for that thing.
Yeah.
So if you are okay with failing at that thing, you have to also then accept the consequences that come with it.
Okay.
So if you are saying that you can't get a job and you can't do these things,
You need to be okay with
then you
being
must
broke.
yes, guys, sit at home. If we want to go out and you can't, show me we can't cover for you all the time. You know what I mean? And that's the problem, is we want to have our cake and eat it.
Okay.
So then do you think, and I'm speaking in terms of how liberal we are now as a society, and we have different, we identify differently. People are able to identify differently. And also in terms of religion, right? There are a lot of religions, a lot of options now.
Yeah.
Do you think the more we lead, or the more we move into being more liberal, that's the more there's an influx when it comes to, obviously, maybe statistically, if you're able to speak onto that.
Yeah.
How liberal we are now as a society, does it also lead to the many mental problems that we are facing
Because
today?
now we all have something.
Everyone's
I'm not speaking. I have depression. I have this. I have that.
Yo,
Like,
friend,
I'm not hating.
you
on
sound
you.
like a hater.
I'm not a hater.
They're talking about, I'm like the healthiest person in this room.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay, baby. But everyone has issues now, dog. Like, I feel like people are making some stuff up. I'm just being honest.
So, it's interesting because they look at studies, and I'm a pediatrician by training. So I look at a lot of data and studies into the behaviors of children, and particularly around like their success and things like that. So one of the biggest indicators of success in children is parents who gave them chores. So when children were given responsibility, they did better. But also parents who gave kids 2 options versus whatever you want. So when you give a child 2 options, they have to choose between X and Y. And when you say they can have whatever they want, they get stuck in the cycle of, do I want this? Do I want this? Okay, but I want this, but no, not right now. I don't want the pink one. I don't like the pink one. And they get caught up in that mind. They can't make up their mind. And it actually leads to greater indecisiveness later.
Yeah.
And so what you're finding in society is, because we have so many options, people are more and more anxious because they don't know what to choose. Because if they choose the wrong thing, are the other people in their lives going to be okay with it? Are you going to be okay with the consequences that are coming with this thing? There's too many options and too many rules and too many structures that are in place for me to fail. And therefore, I just won't choose anything. Or I will rebel against the thing I'm forced into.
Yeah.
Right? So when it comes to, and you were speaking about religion, for example, I'm a Christian. There are things that happen in Christianity that I don't agree with because it's uncomfortable to me. What do you mean I can't stay with my man before we're married? How do I know if he's going to be the right man for me? How do I know that he's going to, take care of me properly if he doesn't, like if I don't see what it's like with him?
And the day to day, how does it look like?
Now that I'm married, looking back, I can see why that's important, because there are so many things that making sure that this man is with you for the real reason that he wants to be with you, which is to be a provider based on whatever, your idea of a husband is. But for me, it would be based on being a provider, a protector, and someone who's going to help me raise a healthy family. When we are just busy there in the sheets, there's no time to have those conversations. And there's no time to have those healthy conversations, because what is he going to do? He's going to fight with you. He's going to leave, and then you're going to break down because now he's not sleeping at home. And then you're going to worry, is he sleeping with other people? Is he going to go out there? Now you're having thoughts that you didn't have to have if you guys just made an agreement to have no sex before marriage or stay apart before marriage. Having said that, I also stayed with my husband before I got married.
But don't you think that was going to happen regardless? Because if he was going to go away when you were dating,
No.
he can still do the same.
Because I can hold him accountable.
There's a covenant, friend.
Okay.
This one,
I can hold him accountable because if you are going to make that decision before I've even married you, that's a character trait, right? That's who you are. So if I'm going to expect that when you become my husband, it's going to change, that's never going to happen, right? If you don't do it before you are married to someone, they're just going to keep it. Marriage is a continuation of your relationship.
It is.
Right? So if it's not happening now, it's not going to suddenly happen because you are my wife. And no. And I think that's why the rules in certain religions are the way they are, because for me, God said it should be this way, and therefore that's how it must be. Society tells me otherwise, and society makes very good explanations for why that is. I was watching the podcast where you were speaking about how there was the Satanism and the what. And you were saying how
this one.
I was just like, wow, but I wasn't judging, I was just listening. What interested me is exactly what you were saying, is there are things that are in there where it's like
objectively
it's
look
not,
at it.
yes, it's like this makes sense. Yeah, if someone does this to me, yeah, I can forgive them once, but don't do it again.
next time.
yes.
That's not how we are called to be good human beings, to be good
Facts.
Christians, right? So when it comes to all the options we have available to us, you get so caught up and so distracted that unless you're given an option to say yes or no to, you won't actually know what you like. That's exhausting.
Do you have a question that you want to ask her? Because we're having a free psychology session. No, I have mine. I already know what I want to ask. But do you
Wait, this was not on record?
No, it is. All of it is.
Oh, let's say we're getting a free psycho. Like, these things are
personal
Disclaimer.
Consultations
do you
are
want to
expensive, guys.
psychoanalysis?
Psychologists charge
Hold
like
on.
50,000.
Disclaimer, I'm a mental health advocate. So I'm passionate about mental health. I'm not a psychologist.
Okay.
Oh,
So this
okay.
is just general advice.
Oh.
Please don't take what I say and say Dr. Khanyile said. No. This is just like general advice.
How long did it take you
To become a doctor.
a pediatrician?
Oh, okay, that's long. So I did 6 years of medical school. I qualified in 2015. I did 2 years of internship and a year of community service. Then I did medical officer time and started my specialization. And then I finished my specialization in 2024. So all in all, it took me 10 years to be a pediatrician.
Wow. I have a question.
9 years.
Well, yeah, a situation actually.
Yeah.
So in 2024, I was kidnapped. Yeah. Then I attended therapy for a few months.
In an Uber.
Yeah, I was kidnapped in an Uber.
that story
that
was
whole
the same,
situation. I think I've already said it before.
Yeah.
But I think the first few, I also didn't have the privilege of then sitting. Like I had to, even from hospital, I had to start writing. I had to run my business and so forth. So I didn't get that chance. But then I attended therapy. But now what's left is I'm very, my senses are very high. Like if I'm parking, I'm always looking. Like I can never miss it. I'm always looking at, especially because I feel like if I'm trying to open the door, someone can come and close it. Like, yes, it doesn't change my mood or anything, but I'm always on alert. So that's why I asked you, do you think those things can naturally go on their own, or there's another layer that I need to deal with? Because I don't feel triggered. I'm just like, I do run on the streets, but when I run, I just have to make sure I'm with someone and so forth. So that could either be, I took what life was teaching me at the time that it's not that safe, or it's still the after effects of what I went through.
Yeah. So you mentioned an important word there, which is trigger.
Yeah.
So a trigger is something that happens in an environment that's not like the one, or could be similar to the one you were in, but it's a situation or something that happens in an external environment that brings you back to the moment of the trauma, right? So like you're saying, it could be a door slamming. What's important about a trigger is it can either hit the mark or not. Right? In the same way that if you shoot a gun, it can either kill someone or not. And so triggers aren't necessarily bad unless the response to the trigger is bad.
Yeah.
And we use this, or people use this a lot to weaponize situations in relationships. Okay. You're triggering me right now. I can't deal.
And they start crying.
Okay.
True.
You can't control the things that trigger you.
True.
And you can't control the people around you to not trigger you.
Yeah.
What is important is that you communicate that when this happens, it does hurt me. But sometimes people do things subconsciously. So for example, someone might come in and be like, yo guys, I'm late, go. And now you're like, Tommy, that's my trigger. How dare you, right? You know? And it's like, that was a genuine mistake.
That's my trigger.
What do you mean?
Keep on my places, man.
So what is important is because you can't control, and it can happen from anyone, someone who doesn't know you could trigger you. When it comes to those things, you need to also think to yourself, what kind of things do I have to go to? So one thing we do with particularly anxiety and trauma or stress disorders is we expose you to the trigger over time. And that reduces the stress response, the fight or flight response.
How would that look like?
So, for example, someone would sit with you in the room and they would talk to you about it. And they say, okay, we're going to go through this exercise now. You might hear a lot of loud noises or loud sounds, and that's okay. But now you're expecting them, right? So you're like, cool, fine, whatever. And then as you're leaving, they bang the door. So that's the exposure that you're not expecting. Sometimes even with the situation of if you had an attack in your home, some people can't go into the room or can't go into the area and they have to move house. But now you can't sell your house because you need your house. So what they do is the therapist goes in there with you and actually talks you through, what are you feeling? Like, I'm feeling really anxious. I'm feeling really hot. Okay, why? Nothing is happening. It's safety. You're safe. We're all here. Why do you still feel this way? And they work you through that. And over time, get you more and more comfortable with walking into that room. The other thing is you're also becoming more aware, right? Because you know, that happened because maybe I wasn't paying attention to the people around me. So now that's heightened your individual awareness.
It has.
That's also evolutionarily important, right? So it can be positive. A stress can be positive because it teaches you to be aware of your surroundings. It teaches you safety measures. But it's when those things become excessive, when it starts affecting your ability to be present in the moment, to work, to sleep, to eat, etc., that it becomes a disorder.
It's like a phone snatching, because my phone got snatched a lot of times. So I keep telling, like, every time we're on the road, I'm like, guys,
stop
please,
holding your phone like this.
Put your phones in your pockets. Can you please?
And also just to say with paranoia, right? Because awareness and paranoia. No, paranoia is when you are overly aware or you're hyper aware about something and you fear that other people are going to do that thing to you. Right? So now every time you walk past someone, you're just like, okay, you know, and you're like telling guys. You see what I mean? So you're hyper aware and you're overly worried about something happening to you. And you could just be sitting at home and let's say everyone's phones are out and then you're like, hey guys, put it away.
Because my thing is, like, it got snatched by a person that I don't like, not to be rude. He didn't look like a para.
Yes.
You know? And he was speaking like our lingo, like, nah, bruh, I just booked here, so I'm just waiting to enter, you know, bro. So I'm just it's just like, hey, Joe, hey, para, like, hold your phone.
I feel like I'm in class. Why do you keep putting up your hands?
I'm in the corner.
You can touch my shoulder.
Oh,
Speaking of paranoia, I have a disgustingly paranoid mom. Like, as in, like, and that made me paranoid too. Because, like, when I'm in the street, I think somebody's gonna come and stab me. That has never happened before.
Yes, but you don't know what your mom was exposed to for that to be transferred to you, right?
How is it transferred?
So the behavior.
Oh, okay.
Right. So the way she raised you makes you paranoid. But have you? This is funny because I'm talking about epigenetics, and I'm thinking about this thing you guys spoke about with DNA and alcohol. But long story.
Okay. Oh yes.
Epigenetics is, so for example, when you are born, you have two fears.
Okay.
A fear of falling.
Okay, natural.
Right? And actually, no, it's just one fear. You have a fear of falling.
When you're born.
When you're born. No, you don't know what it is to die when you're born.
How do you know what it is to fall?
Because have you seen babies when you drop them?
Yeah,
so that's a reflex.
Wow.
That's called a moral reflex. And that moral reflex protects your face.
Wow.
So it's that
even
reflex.
Newborn babies, if they're not crying, sometimes they'll do something like that and they start.
So if you drop a newborn or if you drop their head, they do this. It's called moral reflex. So what it does is it's a startle reflex that kind of protects the face, but also if you fall, then you fall like that, right? So that's the only real fear that you're born with. Everything else gets learned over time, right? So why are some people scared of snakes and others not?
We were taught to be scared of snakes.
No, but what about the people who've never seen a snake in their life? Their family has never seen a snake in their life, but a snake comes in, they're scared of it, right? Somewhere in your genetics, there was a snake attack, and that was so traumatic that it affected that person's genetics to be passed on to you to kind of like go through. That's epigenetics.
Wait, is it the same as like?
But seeing someone else get stabbed, who's close to you, can be so traumatic that I don't want that to happen to anyone else that's close to me. And so I'm going to impart those behaviors and that fear onto you.
But she thinks I wear glasses.
Wow, this is
right. Wow. She thinks somebody's gonna come up in the street and grab my glasses and I'm gonna be blind.
So think about all the news. Think about all of the news that's happened in South Africa recently. I have a daughter. I'm stressed. I'm trying not to enforce my fears on her, but I need her to be safe. The safety things that I teach her, she might think are unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because I'm a very fearless child. I don't care.
Right. So you don't have all the information your mom has, and you don't have all the information in the world.
Yeah.
In the same way that you're like, I can trust a guy who says, yeah, bruh, yeah, what's up going on? Because those guys don't rob. They don't look like they rob. If a bra came up behind you like this, you're like,
that is why? My mother's like that. My mom panics. So it's like,
so what your mom is seeing is everybody is walking around like this. They could be, and you're not seeing that, right? So she's going to take behaviors that way. But with epigenetics, it's ingrained into your genes, so that even 20 generations down, there is some inherent fear.
This is why I have a fear of dogs. Right? Like literally, I fear dogs. And everyone in my family fears dogs.
Yeah. So but also dogs are scary because they're like,
oh, this is mind blowing. Even puppies. Now I can never walk into a house where there's a puppy. This is mind blowing.
Can I just ask? I wanted to add to this. So is it true that kids inherit their mother's nervous system? So I've heard that before.
So kids actually, the I can't remember the study, and please don't quote me on this, but it's the ability to handle stress as well as the mood of the father has more of an influence on the child. Children develop their athletic ability and their muscular composition mostly from their moms. It's not always the case, but you're more likely to get that. So if you have a dad, so I see this all the time because I'm a firstborn child. I'm exactly like my dad.
We're firstborns, us three, we're all together.
All the firstborns are usually like their dad. Right. And that's because firstborn daughters are usually like their fathers. And that's
I did not like hearing this yesterday. I did not like hearing this.
You can choose his name. Like, I'm not like that man,
but it doesn't mean that because he was moody all the time, you are going to be moody all the time. It just means that your demeanor and the kind of like baseline personality characteristics will be the ones you'll share. Having said that, mood disorders such as depression and anxiety disorders are increased prevalence in women. And that's why sometimes they feel that like your mom is the one who passes it down to you. But it's just because for some reason, women present with more mood and depressive disorders and anxiety disorders, right? Also with psychiatric disorders as well. Like, not psychiatric, psychotic disorders, so schizophrenia, etc. You'll tend to find that substances such as marijuana, very high prevalence, and so they will, or cannabis or weed, they will be very strongly linked to that. But you can pass psychosis on through generations, particularly if a female was affected.
Okay, I have a question now. This is social media related now. Right?
Yes.
So there was a comment that I saw, and someone said that I feel like Sima has imposter syndrome, right? So
guys, people are so wild,
so bold. They say that in serious situations, I always have to like throw in a joke or just to not feel like what is being felt in the moment. I just want to always, I don't know. That they just said that
you don't want to feel the heaviness of the moment.
Yes, like I remember there was something we were talking about and it was very heavy, and I just threw in a joke, and it was just like, okay, but Sima's been throwing jokes, it's never serious. I was also serious. Yeah. I was also throwing in whatever I had to say, but sometimes if I find something funny and I just want to,
so I do the same thing. I call it dark humor.
Okay.
Right.
Did you hear that?
But having said that, it's a coping mechanism.
Okay.
Yeah. So I cope because I really love being happy. I don't mind being sad, but I love being happy.
Yeah.
So if I'm feeling something really like hectic, I think of the darkest stuff. So it's like, I'm just like, so for example, my best friend died last year in August, right?
Oh,
So
sorry.
there's one friend of mine with the two of us. The reels we send each other, we're like, yeah, who Sissy took till death to her too seriously. And I'm like, she took the phrase, I'll take your secrets to the grave, too literally. Like, you know?
Okay.
So it's like,
Then
it's a
what do
way
you
for
mean
me.
now?
Like, talk.
Could have waited.
So for me, when I'm feeling something heavy, it's a way for me to diffuse some of that stress.
Yeah.
But I know that I still have to go back and deal with that sadness and that feeling.
So
right?
imposter syndrome, like,
Imposter syndrome is not that.
you see, you don't know what you talk about right now.
Imposter syndrome means that you feel that you are, when you are in situations that you're fully capable and qualified to be in on paper, you feel that you do not belong and you feel that someone is going to catch you out and tell you that you don't belong or that you're not good enough.
Like that game Mafia.
It's like mafia.
Basically, it's like mafia. So you know, but you are not the mafia. You are the community member. But you feel that everyone is going to believe that you are the mafia and they're going to catch you
And
out.
they always say I'm the Mafia. I'm not.
She's not, guys.
She's nuts, right? And that's why, especially when it comes to dealing with imposter syndrome, is almost like a form of anxiety because you're always worried that you have to overperform and overdo and oversell, because if you don't, people are going to question you and they're going to see you for who you really are. You're not good enough. So that's almost like you saying, I don't think I'm good enough to be in this place. And I'm here anyway. Let me work super hard so that nobody sees that I'm actually not worthy to be here. But you're in the room.
Yes, and I'm also kind of struggling with that right now because social media wise, it's like, these people are smarter than you. These people are cheese girls. These people are this. These people are, and I'm just like, I just come from like a normal background.
Yeah.
I'm not poor. I'm not rich. I'm just a normal kid who's just happens to be really funny. Like, dude, what do I do? Like, they feel like I have to overperform.
Yes.
To when I'm like just chilling like this and you guys are speaking and they're like, oh no, Seema's not herself.
Yes.
And then when I'm speaking a lot and they're like, oh, now Seema's herself. Now Seema is the spreading humor Seema. It's just like, yo, like, can
so
we
there's
leave
two
that?
things, right?
Okay.
There's always going to be someone better than us, guys. Like, there's always someone who's prettier, funnier, smarter, taller, or the better social media. That's it. But thankfully, the way that the world works is the best person the best qualified person in the room doesn't necessarily get it, because talent will always be outperformed by hard work. Always.
So true.
Right? So as long as you do the thing, and in a way that's obedience, right? If you're obedient to the things you need to do, it doesn't matter if you don't think you're enough. The people who need the work that you are putting in will see that you are enough. And you can be the most talented person if you are not showing your work with just showing up every day, doing the things you need to do. If you have the capacity, go above and beyond. That's what people will do. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if someone is going to say something about you and it's going to affect you every time, my sister, just sleep. It's fine. Because even when you sleep, so people always say stuff about you. Nandi Matita put up a post that said, people, there's not one person on this earth who's going to like everything that you do. There's no one who's going to like everything you do. Even the people who are in your circle, who you trust with your life, will say, but show me why you're doing this, right? The most important thing is, are you doing things that are true to who you are? Like we spoke about the definition, are you doing things that help you realize your abilities? Are you contributing to your community? If you feel that you are, yes, is there room for improvement? Always.
Definitely.
But if you cannot take criticism from someone you can take advice from, like, please don't take criticism from someone you won't take advice from, right? Because you are constantly going to get yourself.
Sorry, repeat that.
Don't take criticism from someone
you wouldn't take advice from.
Oh, Vila Nombulelo.
I've been living by that nature. I've been. But what's my question? So I have like the opposite of imposter syndrome. I don't underperform ever. You'll never catch me underperforming. But I just don't care to prove myself.
Yeah.
Because I don't have an attachment with the identity people have with about me in their minds. I just don't have an attachment to that. So when you come to me and you're like, I thought you were mean, I'm like, oh, okay. I thought you would be so stuck up. Okay, but I'm not. I thought you would be, I just don't have an attachment with my identity in people's minds. So I don't have imposter syndrome at all because, first of all, I do enough to get me places. I don't have to overperform. I don't feel the need to. And I don't underperform either. I just do me. I can't lie.
So that's
So
a very good.
What's that?
That's a healthy sense of self because you know what your capacity is.
Yeah.
You know what your abilities are, and you know what the expectation is of you. The only time it can be a problem is especially in relationships because you might not know something that you are doing that actually hurts someone, and it might be something that you don't even know you're doing. So, for example, I am, let's say, with my husband. I might like to come home and sit in the car for an hour and just de-stress and just like relax. But for him, he's like, why are you sitting in the car for an hour? Like, we've got things to do. We've got to get cooking and, we've got to get the baby sorted. I'm not saying he does this, but I'm just saying that's what he might think it is, right? So I'm like, hi, Abudi, like, I'm fine. Like, I'm just de-stressing. Like, I'm not stressed about you. Why are you stressing? But I'm not realizing that me being away for that hour worries him because he actually wants that hour towards the end of the night so he can relax. He wants to make sure everything is done first before, before the evening so that he's not like running late with work into the evening. So that is not me having to necessarily change who I am. It's just changing the way I do things so that as a unit, we can work together. So especially in a relationship. So then instead of me getting home and sitting in the car for an hour, I can be like, babe, I'm on the way home. Do you want me to cook or do you want me to sort out the baby? Then I'm communicating. And then when I get home, I can still maybe take 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour. And I go in, sort everything out. And then we're both happy. He gets his time, I get my time. The problem is sometimes it's a give and take in relationships. And that's why your mental health is fine by yourself.
Exactly.
The girl is fine. She's performing at the level she wants to. But now when other people have expectations and other people have needs and other people have boundaries, you then might have to adjust not who you are, but how you do things.
What about someone who's not willing to compromise?
I'm not.
So that's fine, but then you're allowed to do, remember I said you're allowed to do anything you want to do, but you must take the consequences that come with it.
Mami, you see, we have a problem with this one. Ne? So our problem is, no, it's not a problem, but we are fixing it bit by bit.
Okay.
To be honest. Uri, as she struggles to
communicate
properly. She communicates very well. But very sternly. So very like Hanada. She doesn't care how you feel. As long as she sent across her message, she's fine. She's good. Right? So we had a big ass right with her, like, yo, like you need to like you need to learn how to speak to people. And then that's how I and she's really trying, but also the other part was how it was communicated with her. Like our other colleagues were like, and she's just like, you shout at me, I'm not listening to you.
Exactly.
Do you get what I mean? Not say fuck off, but she was just like, And so that was our problem with her.
Yes.
That when you say hore,
it's a good.
It's for her. It's good for her to know herself, but it hurts other people around.
And that's why I said, she's allowed to do what she wants, but then she must also accept the consequences, right? Yeah. And that's what I think is important when it comes to having friendships that last a really long time, because life will change, right? And your response to things will change. You'll have the same time. I mean, you'll have the same 24 hours, but that time is different, right? And so even with that, your communication has to be effective. And if the way you're communicating hurts me because I feel like you're just like nonchalant about it and it feels like you don't care. Yeah. If I communicate that and you take it and you're like, okay, but dog, that's how I communicate. Then it's just like, yo.
But I don't give that.
I'm just saying. Like, if someone's like, but that's how I communicate, I can't change it. It kind of makes me feel like, okay, well, you are not going to move. So I have to either accept it for what it is. Yeah. Or keep trying to help you see why
or
the
remove
problem,
myself from the situation,
or let go, right?
Okay.
In families, that gets tricky.
You win, I hear.
So in families, that gets tricky. So I always say that you need to have a family that's involved, but not necessarily present, right? So, for example, if you grew up with a very difficult relationship with your mom, and your mom is here all the time, just always criticizing you, everything you do, everything you wear, everything you dress, telling you're going to get stabbed in the street, whatever. And that's really difficult because you feel like you can't grow as a person. You can't do the degree you want to do. You can't date the person you want to date, right? You move away from that situation. You find mental health for yourself. You know, you've got a great relationship with your friends and then now you're getting married. You can't not involve your mom. Right? But she can be present at the event and then go home.
Yeah, she must sit at the back also.
And you communicate.
Not my mom.
Yeah. But you can communicate with them and say, I don't want you involved in the small daily nitty gritty things.
Yeah.
I want you to be involved in this and this and this.
Okay.
But I still want to have that relationship with you.
What if she oversteps?
Right? Then you communicate with her, right?
What if she doesn't listen?
No, but actually that's why.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
No, but that's what I'm saying to you, right? There are situations where you can't control the people in your lives. They're going to act the way that they act. You must decide, do I want them to be at this wedding and be themselves? Or do I just not want to involve them and actually hurt that relationship a lot more?
So remember what we
Again,
said?
you can do anything you want, but you must accept the responsibility.
Remember we said you can't change people for who they are, bro. Like, remember we said, like, dude, at some point you must make peace and you must accept your parents for who they are, especially parents.
But I want us to also touch on the boy child left behind and how mental health is harder for men. I have my own views when it comes to that. Do you think that culture and the system, patriarchy and so forth, are playing a backward role when it comes to involving the boy child and ultimately the man in conversations of mental health?
Or are they doing it too much? Because now all of them...
That's what I'm saying. I have my own reservations and own views, but I think I want to hear from you first, then everyone else can chip in after.
So I think I'm going to speak at a macro level, which is the whole country or the whole world, right?
Yeah.
Because I think when we're on TikTok, we think that everybody's doing the same thing that we are. And all the men that we're talking to are overusing therapy speak and they weaponizing it, or they're like not doing enough work because, hey, what's your nice, whatever, right? I'm talking about the general population, right? A lot of South Africa is still quite rural, and a lot of South Africa doesn't have exposure to Western therapies and treatments like that. So most of the conversations that people are having are within communities. So within a village, within a family, a man is still the head of the household and he is responsible for taking care of the family. Therefore, he is going to raise all of the boys in that household as he was raised because he knows the responsibilities he has. He hasn't been given the space to tap into the softness that he needs to raise a family. Some men are inherently playful. They cute and you can play with them. But other men, maybe because how they were raised was, they were beaten if they didn't do things the right way, or because they were in poverty and they did never again. So they have to work really, really hard. And that's the only way to success. You have it soft. You can't just go play a sport. You have to go into business, all of those things, right? Because of how they were raised, it will then affect how they raise kids. So as the generation now, where women are becoming more and more independent, we are able to have conversations at a more equal level than our mothers and our grandmothers before us. And I mean like equal socially. Yeah. What we find is that men are not being taught, or boys are not being taught by the men that raised them how to listen effectively. So they can listen to you, but they're like, and then they go and talk in the corner and then they just carry on and say, I know mfanam, so what you must yes, whatever. Like they have those conversations. And I've seen it a lot with the boys. Like they'll come be like, yo, my hand is crazy. And they'll be like, yo, dog, we've been telling you she's crazy. And then it's like, hey, this hand just chats in my ear. And they just do that and then they go back and they repeat the same cycle. So the issue we're having now is we've got two very different groups of people in South Africa. We've got like people who are able to access therapy, able to access healthcare. They're able to go to, like a mall and go to have TikTok and data on their phone, very easily accessible, and they contribute to that. Then you have the other part, which is mostly township living, lower socioeconomic status, maybe even unemployed, having very high crime rates, maybe involved with a gang. They are living two very different lives, but the expectations on them are the same.
True.
So society's expectations of men are changing, but the family's expectation of a man has not.
Okay.
Right? So society expects a man to be soft and vulnerable, but a man must still provide. He must still make sure that he's a disciplinarian in the household, but he can't beat the kids. He still has to protect me. And he still also has to be like the person who makes decisions. He has to be the head of the household. But I also have money and I also want to make decisions. And I also want to contribute, and go to work. And I still want to also have my career. But now who's going to take care of the kids if I'm gone? So now we have to get a nanny. But now we can't afford a nanny. So now we have to split responsibilities in the home. So can you see there's like a lot of moving parts? And how do you change that in one generation? It has to be a multi-generational conversation. So what I always say is, instead of us prescribing to men as a whole what we should do, we should have conversations with individual men in our lives and say, this is what I think would really help for our relationship to be sustainable.
Nice.
So for example, in my household, I pay for the house. My husband pays for everything else, right? But the house is a big cost and everything else is also a big cost. So then it means that if I decide that I don't want to do full-time work anymore, it means he has to step up the responsibility, right? That's a fair conversation. But he can also then say, no, sissy, I know I'm supposed to provide for you as a man, but what you're asking me to do is very stressful for me. I cannot take on extra work. I need you to keep working. That's a fair conversation to have.
It is.
If I went to another circle, they'd be like, Indota must provide. Why are you paying for the house? Why are you doing this? Why are you know what I mean? So it depends on the circle that you're in. That's even with social media, right? Your social media following will be dependent on what you post, and therefore your algorithm will go that way.
Yeah, first.
So the trad wives have their algorithms. The red pills have their algorithm. The baddies have their algorithm. So everybody has their own little bubble that they're living in, and that's being fed into them constantly. So you're actually not wrong based on your algorithm. Your algorithm is like saying you are right, and that's why men are struggling, because what they're seeing says that they're right.
So are you then saying that your level of socio-economic status, or economic status rather, has a direct impact on the type of mental health that you have? Because I think you spoke about the two groups and also the access that you have, because I feel like mental health facilities are not that accessible because one, they're expensive. Two, in the public sector, they're not the best. Like there's only one therapist in the entire thing. You go to psychiatric wards, they're not the best. So ultimately, our experiences also depend on the class that we're in economically.
Yes. You said it absolutely correctly. Mental health is affected by your environment. So the money that you have will affect the environment that you're in. Do you have to wake up at 4:00 to boil water on a stove to bath to be able to get to a taxi that's going to take you to your job that starts at 8 a.m.? Or can you just wake up at 6:30, even 5, go to the gym, come back from the gym, take a shower in a very nice establishment, walk to your job? Those are two different people. They could be the same age. They could have the same mental health profile, but because the situations are different, it affects one more than the other. It also affects your ability to get help, right? So if you are far from a clinic, or there's only one clinic in your area, which then needs a hospital that's even further away.
Yeah.
If you have medical aid or not having medical aid, even if you are in Johannesburg or Cape Town or Durban, if your family has a understanding of what mental health is, do they have do they know? So I have a very medical family, so they know these things because it's medical, but doesn't necessarily mean that they apply them. What are the traditions and the beliefs that you guys have that will affect? So you can be super rich, but you can still have an inability to access mental health because your family does not think it's a real thing.
Yeah,
Can I ask a question? That's
but Luna, you didn't chip in on the boy child. What do you think? The boy child, the men.
Yeah, tell me.
What do you guys think?
boy child.
Hey,
and the man.
Conversations about mental
Ramoshia, boy child, wasala, nangas mukuki, ngas cooking one about
it. And then God is hearing these messages, and then what does He do? He's going to give you 5 boys, and you're going to have them all at the same time.
And I rebuke. You're going to leave your 5. Either it's a girl or it's an abortion.
She's going to have triplets.
They're all going to be boys. Either it's a girl or it's an abortion.
No, I'm a pediatrician. Don't say that.
No, you see.
No, don't say
with the boys. That I'll speak from
the baby.
abortion.
The boy didn't do anything. He wasn't involved there. Now you're gonna punish him for your things.
I get you can teach him how you want.
Yes, you can raise a better boy.
Yeah, I want boys. I want 4 of you.
What do you think?
But you know what I feel, man?
Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking, let me think of it in my world. Because our worlds are not the same. I personally feel like boys, especially in this generation, are like, they're just too sensitive. Honestly,
they're princesses.
They are. Men used to fight wars. Like, we say this all the time because it's the truth. Like, men used to fight wars, but now,
But
like,
that's because we weren't allowed to get jobs.
yes,
And when
now,
they were here,
and
then they went to war, and then that's when we were provided opportunity to go to
work.
school and work and stuff like that.
like, I sometimes feel bad for men because, yes, I do agree that they definitely have a lot more pressure in terms of getting a job and work. Like, they have to provide, you know, like, well, those who believe in that. But I feel like I struggle to, when they say that they have stress and they have depression and they're feeling those things, I'm like, okay, sharp. I'm just staying in my world, ne? No problem. But then I'm like, but you and I are doing the exact same thing. Why am I balancing this and you can't? And I feel like you are genetically better suited to handle stress more than I am. So how is it like, why are we still having this conversation?
So I love that you said
I mean,
that.
not more genetically.
No.
Men are stronger.
No,
physically, yes, but
genetically, no.
mentally.
So
Are they not supposed to be smarter?
let's
No, they're not.
No,
Women are more smarter.
let's just
Okay,
make
guys,
this-
let's
just
Ask a doctor. We have a doctor.
Okay, so what Dr. McStuffins?
So no one is more smarter or less smarter.
True.
Really?
Women are more have a higher emotional quotient, so IQ, EQ, right? Women tend to have a higher emotional quotient because because of the way that we socialize and we interact with other community members.
Yes.
It's firstly taught to us, but we're also, even when you look at young children when they play, girls will tend to sit in a corner in a thingy and they play together and they delegate tasks, and you do this and I do this and we're going to play like this. Whereas boys compete, right? They go out and they play and they're fighting and they're jumping on things, and it's a big masculine thing, right? Evolutionarily, that was important. The boys who had the physical strength needed to fight the physical lion. The lion is not emotional. The lion is not going to have a conversation with us. Children are emotional. So women need to be able to relate to their children and ease them into this adulthood thing, right?
Nice. Okay.
So evolutionarily, that's why one is better than the other in that regard.
So physically
versus emotionally.
So IQ. Now I want IQ. Who's
Intelligence,
I'm smarter than men.
Intelligence is not based on like an inherent understanding. It's based on what you're exposed to. And you'll see this with kids who grew up in the same area will do different things. They'll go into different communities. Children born in the same household, same parents, same genes, different IQ.
So there's no neurological factor in that
gives someone an advantage.
Like you were born
on
smart.
average.
No,
are
so
more women
there's not
smarter
like
than
a
men?
gene that says this is an intelligence gene, this guy here. This
I thought
one
it
makes
was
you
like-
more
I actually
intelligent
thought
than others. But
So
having
like we like packets.
yeah, but unless you have an intellectual disorder or disability, right? That's a disability that you have, and there are some genes that can cause intellectual disability. But there's no gene that says this one. If you have this gene, you are intelligent more than me. Right?
So it's exposure, it's environment, it's
Yes, and that's why you can see sometimes you have children who come into countries and they've like never spoken the language at the age of 6, suddenly thriving. You have children who've been in the country their whole lives, same environment,
speak the language.
still not even speak the language. They don't thrive as much as the other, right? Because why? The parents of the child who didn't speak that language knew that child had to work hard, and they ingrained that into them. So it's a lot of behavior. Okay, so intelligence is the one thing.
Okay, cool.
When it comes to mental health, like I said earlier, mental health in terms of this depression and anxiety disorders are more prevalent in women, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Told you.
there's very different reasons for this. Some people say it's because women are not socially socially allowed to express their emotions the way men do. So they have to hold everything in, and also
I
autoimmune disorders that can cause a lot of dysfunction there, right?
Yes, it can.
So that's the thinking behind it.
Yeah.
And also in terms of mental illness, doesn't matter if it's a male or female, if you had mental illness in a previous generation, there's an increased chance of you, right? But is that because of environment? Is that because of behavior? Is that because of, things that you are taught?
Yeah.
When you are going to compare men and women in relationships, again, it depends on your partner. So you and I can marry brothers who are raised in the same home. But because I communicate with my husband one way and you don't, you might feel like your marriage is horrible and mine is fine because we have an understanding between the two of us, right? And that's why you have to communicate with each other as man and woman and find what is right for us. People are going to complain and say, no, you shouldn't be paying for the house. Your man should be paying for everything.
Yeah.
But I actually like that. Like, I can contribute. Like, that makes me feel like that's what I want.
And that's okay, yeah.
And so if I'm fine with that, you and I can go through the same challenge. We can be, like I said earlier, we can go through the same traumatic events, but it will take us different time to heal, and in the same way with men. Now, yes, men don't fight wars, but it doesn't mean that they don't have the same stresses in a different scale.
Okay, different font.
And there is an element of privilege because there are other things to complain about. It's better to complain about the fact that my boss is stressing me out than complain about the fact that there's a bomb going off right next to me.
It's not the same, but...
And then the second thing is coping skills. So men are not taught the proper coping skills from a young age. Instead of talking and sitting it down, boys don't cry. You have to just get over it, be a man, all of those things. So all of those things I think have been ingrained into men, and moms and family members tend to coddle boys more than they do. I saw something that said that
I have a little brother. This is like, dude, we coddle him.
Most useless
Like, I
person
love that kid
in the household.
No, me, I make him do stuff. I'm like, go wash the dishes. I'll make him I'll go take care of our dog. Like, I try. And even I spoke to him and said, what happens when you have a girlfriend on dates? I take her on a date. I must pay her. I've indoctrinated him in small ways, but I can see at home, like with my mom, how she loves her little son. I'm like, dude, you never did this with me, but I'm a female. I should have been called. I must be the spoiled brat that doesn't know anything.
Every day, make everybody's lunches, make breakfast, get the kids ready, and then wake my mom up.
So we are parentifying children more often than not. It's a girl who's parentified than boys.
I'm a nigga, bro. I'm basically a man.
But again, that's just probably a failure on the society that has kind of allowed behaviors to go on. And the same thing could be said for like sugar babies and gold diggers, right? Yeah. Like after a while, if you are having really young girls who are unable to find like opportunities, and I'm not talking about the ones who choose that life, right? I'm talking about the ones who are forced into that life, right? And that's the only option available to them. You as society are going to judge them. And she's like, hey guys, I tried everything. I tried to apply for the post and everything. And now she's going to be exposed to a whole world of things. She's going to go through mental health, and you're going to say, and the reason you got GBV is because you went into this world. But she was just trying her best, right? Yeah. So mental health is multifactorial. There's so many things that's exposed. And what I realize is I can never judge someone else's response to a situation because I don't know what I would do in that situation until I get there.
Thanks.
I always look at reality shows, like when they do, like the celebrity is dressed up as someone, like someone else. And then we like watching people like, bruh, can't you see it's this guy, a dog? And I'm like, but you know it's them. That's why you can't recognize it. Mental health is like that. If someone has to come and tell you, I'm feeling sad. You're like, dog, this is what you must do. Why are you not doing this thing? Until you are in their shoes, it's hard to advise yourself the same advice because you're not living that experience.
Okay.
We can even have the debate about how in The Polygamist was Jonasi or Joyce the villain. But that's another story for another day.
I just have one more question from my side. I need to get this off my chest because this is a personal one for me. How do you deal with like anxiety just in general? Because I feel like I told them, like very recently I started having like anxiety attacks. It was the worst thing ever. Yeah. Like I felt like I was gonna die, quite literally. Yeah, panic anxiety, that thing. And I used to think that these are things of white people. I won't lie. I was like, I don't know what that is. And then it happened to me and I was like, oh shit, okay, this is clearly a real thing. How do you like navigate that? Obviously I heard you speak about pills and stuff. Like I've started taking stuff. I've taken rescue. It actually does help. from time to time. You gave me comics, all of that stuff. And I've
like
tried.
comics.
No, comics.
Oh, comics. I said comics.
What?
I've been using this.
You're using it wrong. Give it placebo effects. But anyway, but yeah, like how do you navigate that? Because I feel like, especially with our industry, like it's ever so change. Like it'll never be stagnant. There's always going to be new stimulus, and it's something you can never truly get away from. How do you deal with that without turning to substances? Because I have found myself eventually, taking things I shouldn't take, and things like that. Like, yeah, like how do you navigate that, especially as a creator? Because I feel like, like I always, maybe I'm being unfair, but I feel like if you have a 9 to 5, I just don't think I understand the stress of someone who has constant stimulus. Like, I don't think it's the same.
I'm not about bus John.
But at least for me to bus John and
exactly.
the pattern start high.
So
you can adapt. You can adapt. So you can adapt to
I
their
always
patterns.
worry when people say at least, because at least implies that if you were in that situation, you would not have that
I've been
problem.
there. That's what I'm saying.
No, but
have you done a 9
the
to
same
5?
way they don't understand your
Have you done a 9
stress,
to
you
5?
also don't understand.
Yes, a few.
It was better.
That was your experience, though, not a general experience.
So that's what I'm saying. For your personality,
My
maybe
mom
a
is
9 to
happy
5
for 9 to 5.
is fine. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
she's
someone
trying to recruit us.
And then now I will never fire in the name of Jesus. Fire! No, I'm a boss.
No, but that's what I'm saying is, right?
Yeah.
For you, a 95 might be fine, but your life has just found you in this side of life. For other people are like, I wish I could do what you are doing instead of a 95, right? And that's why I say we can't judge people, because if we were there, we don't know.
Okay, I'm
Judge a
growing.
book by its cover.
Let me ask before I answer, how do you guys handle? And so anxiety is, it's a fear of something that's not real, right?
Oh.
So or a fear of something that's not a real danger at this moment. That's what anxiety disorder does to you.
Yeah.
You have an hyper awareness, this debilitating fear that something is going to happen. You don't know what. Sometimes you do know, but there's just this feeling that something is going to happen, and it manifests in your body with you're unable to concentrate.
Yeah.
You get sometimes a dry mouth. You feel your heart racing, you sweat, you get chest pain.
Yeah.
You can even get a runny tummy or even very bad tummy. You almost have like a fight or flight response in real time. So I want to know, like, do you guys feel that, and what do you do before I answer?
Well, I've had anxiety since I was 7, because that's when my mom decided to end my life by having another child. So
She's not you'll get used to it. This sounds crazy.
Like proper anxiety. It started to get bad
Why did that make you feel that way?
because I hated not having attention. I'm very spoiled. But it started to get bad when I turned 11. So that's when my panic attacks started and whatever. Then they continued until I turned like 16. Then I started drinking. So that's how I
So
did.
drinking was your coping mechanism?
Yeah, no, it still is.
Okay. And then
Sorry?
what do you do
How do
when
you
you
deal
cope,
with
and how do you
anxiety,
cope with
friend?
your anxiety? Or do you have anxiety?
Can I just say, I get like, sometimes I get attacks when I'm about to like play, like DJ and whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, this crowd is so big, and oh my gosh, I feel like I need to poo, or I'm sweating and my heart is racing. But I just go poo, then I pray in the toilet, then I wash my hands and go play, then I'm good.
It's oddly specific.
I think I was in varsity. I was actually on antidepressants because I used to get a lot of anxiety, and but now it's just crying and running. But I hardly get anxious now because I think with therapy I've learned to touch and feel and say it's not happening.
2, 3, 4, 5,
so
6, 7,
yes, that's what I've learned. So
Yeah.
now I don't have anxiety that much, even if I feel a bit anxious, but it's not like a crippling anxiety.
Yeah.
Sorry, one more thing. Also, it's like, I think for me, my anxiety also comes from like having like serious impending doom.
Yes.
Like, you know what that is? It's
A feeling where you just like feel dread.
dude, you feel like you're gonna die.
Yes.
Like you don't know what's like. It's that thing of like, if I'm taken right now, I don't know where I'm gonna go. And can you imagine having that thought all the effing time?
Yeah.
For me, yeah, please.
So there's I'm glad you said anxious versus anxiety versus a panic attack, right? So being anxious is an everyday feeling.
Okay.
Like if you're meeting someone new, you're going for a job interview, you're about to play a set in front of a new crowd, there's a big project coming up and you're not sure if you're going to get it done on time. Those feelings of like, am I going to get it done? That's normal. Everyone feels that, right?
Cool.
A panic attack is an event that happens where all of those symptoms are heightened. So that feeling of cramping, the feeling of your chest, crushing chest pain, you feel like you're going to die. And people always say you're you're overreacting. No, when you're having a real panic attack, you can actually feel like you're going to die.
No, I think that has happened to me actually.
Yes.
I think 2 years ago. Hey, like
It feels like you're dying.
I went to they rushed me to the hospital
yes.
and I had
Yes.
Oh, I asked the lady, am I going to die? She said, dude, chill. You're okay.
Actually speak about
you're
that story a lot.
Yes. So
I know what you're saying.
it's terrifying. It's terrifying because you actually feel like you're going to die.
Yes.
That's a panic attack. And then the last thing is anxiety, which is the disorder. So that has a time frame. It's got all of the symptoms that we spoke about, physical symptoms. You're unable to concentrate, cognitive symptoms, mood symptoms. You start avoiding things. You start staying away from situations that could promote that activity or whatever. So what happens is you have an anxious feeling about work. And then because one bad experience happens one day, you then heighten that anxiety because you feel like you didn't do enough. And then you keep trying to combat that by doing more stuff to prevent that bad experience from happening. But now you become paranoid and you're worried that this thing is always going to happen every time you have a presentation or whatever. And then it happens. And if you don't deal with the thoughts, the inherent thought behind it, which is I'm not good enough, it continues. If you're worried about going to a place and you're worried that this thing happened to you or this trauma happened to you or whatever, you're going to keep constantly doing things and having behaviors that prevent you from going to that place. And then it becomes a disorder when you just avoid things completely. You don't talk to anyone about it. You are having regular panic attacks, or you may even need an admission to calm you down. Now, this is why I think Mental Matters and the work we do is so important, because how do we stop the anxiety disorder at the point where it becomes anxiousness that's unchecked? And so you have to then say, I'm feeling really worried about this right now. First thing is, what's actually making me worry? Am I worried that other people are going to catch me out? Am I worried that this person is going to harm me? Am I worried that I'm going to die? Am I worried? Because again, it's a fear of a threat that's not real, right? So challenge your brain with the reality behind this thing. It's just a presentation. Even if I do badly and they shout at me, I won't lose my job. Okay. Then the next step is when you're in the moment and you're feeling, I can't breathe. Like you're saying, ground yourself. So anxiety makes you think high in the clouds. You're thinking of things that don't exist. So bring yourself back to things that do exist. They talk about a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. So out loud, say 5 things I can see. There's the leaf, there's the microphone, there's the water bottle, there's the camera, here's your bangles. What are 4 things you can smell? The perfume, I can smell my lipstick, whatever, things like that. What are 3 things you can touch? I can touch the mic, I can touch the wood. It feels like this. Oh, my pants feel like this. What are 2 things you can hear? I can hear the people outside. I can actually hear my own voice. What's 1 thing? So you work through all your senses, right? And you bring yourself. You won't do it as fast as I did it. I'm just doing it for time. But take your time going through that because you're bringing your heart rate down.
That's how you cure a panic attack.
Yes, you need to bring your heart rate down.
Popping pills.
So I'll get to that one, right? The other thing you could do is what I do in the morning is called a brain dump. So if I anticipate a very stressful day, which is going to give me a lot of big feelings, I write down all the things that are going to happen in the day and I reorganize it in order of priority. And then I'm kind of like a diary, a 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock or calendar. Yeah. So then I'm prepared for...
I'm jealous. I'm sorry. I'm jealous.
It goes a long way.
Anxiety, again, is worry that something is going to happen. So when you can see what is going to happen,
You know exactly
when something unexpected happens, you can be like, okay, it's not such a big deal because I know all the things that are kind of going on in my day. When it comes to tablets, so there are medications that they can use. They're called beta blockers to slow down your heart rate. And this is a very dangerous thing that particularly exam students do, is they take these tablets to prevent them from being anxious. They're called beta blockers. They slow down your heart rate so that when you have the attack, it doesn't go because that pounding in your ears is sometimes what makes you distracted, and also reduces the fight or flight response. There's also anti-anxiety medication and sleeping tablets you can take to help you sleep. But again, very high chance of dependence because now if I don't take it, am I not going to sleep? So there's other things you can do. Guys, meditation. There's so many studies about meditation. 10 minutes a day.
But it's hard to clear your thoughts. I've tried meditating.
So don't do it by yourself. Use an app.
How does that look like?
The app will tell you, okay, find a comfortable position. Now you're listening to the app. You're not listening to your thoughts. Find a comfortable position and you're going to sit down and you are going to make sure that you don't have anything happening. We're going to do like a 2-minute one.
Okay, cool.
You can close your eyes. You can open your eyes. You can relax. Okay. Now you're going to go from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Make sure that you're relaxed and just breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Now let your breath return to its natural rhythm and kind of feel where the breath sits. Does it feel like it's higher up in your chest as your chest rises and falls? Or does it sit lower down in your belly? Can you feel that muscle in the middle of your body moving as you breathe? And once you get an awareness of that, you just start at the top of your head. And you feel your hair. Is it too tight? Is it loose? Move to your scalp. Do you have a headache? Moving down to your forehead and your eyebrows. Coming down to your eyes. Into your nose. Is it itchy? Is it feeling a bit tingly? Are your cheeks flushed? Are they feeling red or hot? Moving to your lips. Did I put lipstick on or lip gloss on? Are my lips dry? Don't do anything about it. Just acknowledge it. Moving to your tongue. Is it touching the top of your palate? Is it relaxed in your mouth? And moving to your jaw. Am I clenching? Do I need to relax? Don't have to do anything about it. Just acknowledge it. Moving down to your neck. How does it feel? Is it loose? Is it tight? To your shoulders. Are they tight or relaxed? Moving to your back. Do I have back pain? Is it on one side more than the other? Do I have period pain? Moving down to your hips, into your thighs, in your knees. Are your legs sore from leg day? Moving to your lower legs and to your ankles, now to your toes. And as we come out of this meditation, you wiggle your toes. Take a deep breath in and out, in and out. You open your eyes. How do you
Someone's
feel?
toes were going I'm joking. But that was dope.
Right?
That felt
so
nice.
what's nice about that is I didn't tell you to think about nothing.
Oh, that was nice.
I told you to pay attention to what's happening in your body. And what happens is you get so caught up in trying to focus on nothing that all the things you have to think about pop into your head at the same time. Then you also think, okay, there's other meditations where they ask you to listen to the things around you and identify what are you hearing.
Yes.
But the aim is to bring yourself back to yourself. And that was like 2 minutes. So imagine
really
10
good.
minutes.
Imagine
That felt
10.
super good.
Dude,
Yeah.
I feel
calmer.
Yeah.
I want to know what I have.
The air was here, and now it's like this. It's like gone a bit
It went to
down.
the
Yeah,
belly,
did you feel
right?
that?
I felt it in the
Yeah,
belly.
I also felt in the belly eventually.
Exactly.
dope.
And if you do that for 10 minutes every day, do it in the morning. When I was working on call, I used to do that in between like patients because I was like, this was a very social situation. Let me just calm down. And it was 10 minutes. It's like a break. I can still eat something afterwards, go back,
Yeah.
calms me down, centers me. And then you move back. And there's apps that you can help download. I really love Headspace. There's also Calm, not Comics. Calm. CALM. I think
Please send it to the
Calm,
group chat.
there are some paid versions, but Headspace is free.
Headspace.
And you can choose the voice. You can choose a program. So it takes you over a 7-day program, whatever. But sometimes all you need is just someone to help you, guide you, and you're done.
It's a bad idea to see it the whole way.
No, it's not bad at all. But that's a good point, because as you do more meditation, because some people can't concentrate, and that's why I like the talking ones, because they tell me what to do. And then over time, you see that the gap between the talking gets wider and wider and wider through the meditation course.
And you are locked in.
And then you're locked in.
Okay.
God.
That felt nice.
Thank you so much. That is actually very nice.
Genuinely,
I feel
you guys have breathed so much now after that meditation, because we don't breathe enough.
Yeah. No, thank you for joining us. I mean, as our first guest, I don't think it was more fitting. You had to be the first one. And I hope that our viewers learned a thing or two, man. You said a lot of things. SRI, what is it?
SSRI.
SSRI.
Numerologist.
Neurotransmitter.
There's a lot happening.
There's a lot of
say let's go.
No, thank you. And do you guys have one last thing for mental health? Just a piece of advice. I think let's go around and then we'll leave you with the last word.
Cool.
Before we say bye.
So I must advise people for mental health.
So
I like listening to a lot of self-help books, podcasts, and so forth.
Yeah.
And one of the things they taught me is that when you go through something, you feel like it's the worst thing because you're just looking at that. So what you need to do is to zoom out and realize that your world is not ending, because sometimes we get so anxious and so stressed because we're thinking, oh my God, so my day is the most terrible. But when you zoom out to realize, oh, I had food to eat in the morning, I drove here and I'm safe. So sometimes you just need to not only focus on the bad, deal with the bad, but also zoom out and acknowledge the good that's happening around.
I think I have two. Be kind, because you don't know what someone else is going through on that day. That could be their 13th reason.
Yeah,
you know.
facts.
No, man, you are rude. I'm doing something very serious. Just be kind, and you don't know what someone else is going through. And just and also on social media, don't listen to what people say on social media, because they're projecting and they're just having a bad day and they're taking it out on you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You
Oh yeah, guys, don't kill yourself. We just live on a floating rock. It's not that serious. If you view life as just like a parody, it makes it very, very easier. I mean, it makes you less serious about certain things you're supposed to be serious about, but you'll deal with that. But yeah, no, it's not that deep. It never is.
Okay.
It never is. Yeah.
I would just say, let's not stigmatize mental illnesses. It's a real thing and it can happen to you. The same way you think it won't happen to you, it'll happen to you. So I think acknowledge it and find ways to fix it, because just because you are going through something is not an excuse for you to disrespect somebody or to do things in the name of mental illnesses. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just to summarize what everyone's saying, gratitude, awareness of self, grace for yourself and for others, and also understanding that if you are at a point where you feel that it's too much and you can't do it by yourself, just know that that is the mental illness talking. Find your community, even if it's one person, and hold on to that person. And if you have a person in your life who's struggling with mental illness and you feel like you can't help them, that's also okay. You don't always have to be the person to save someone else. You can refer them to resources. South African Depression and Anxiety Group has a 24-hour hotline, even for healthcare professionals. The local clinic, community health center or hospital near you, if you can afford it, get to a psychologist or psychiatrist. And also social workers can help you with societal issues that you have. The last thing I want to say is mental illness is not an excuse for bad behavior. Yeah. It's your responsibility to take care of yourself and communicate with those around you. Yeah. And also make sure that you are doing things that are going to help support your family and yourself to deal with it. But take care of yourself, guys. It isn't the end of the world, even though it does feel like it is. Yeah. You are not a burden. We will not be better off if you are not here. We need you here.
Oh, and make sure you guys support Mental Matters, ne?
Yeah, how do we do that?
Mental Matters.
Where do we find you?
So you can find us at Mental Matters SA _ on Instagram and on Facebook and LinkedIn. It's Mental Matters South Africa.
I need you guys.
Maybe one day we'll do something all together, hey?
Yeah.
Yes, we'll
She's
do
a philanthropist.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need you guys.
Call me and follow me at Dr_Khanyile on Instagram, at Dr. Khanyile _ on TikTok.
Well, Natasha there.
Please like, comment, share, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. We love you.
Bye.